Hello, everyone. Now, I realize that there are a lot of YouTube channels out there today that are telling you, retire ASAP right now. Right? However, they're not telling my story now, are they? Now, stay with me, and I promise that you will see this topic in an entirely new light. Okay then, let's start down this new side road, shall we? Now, I have 5 questions here that will help you decide on that question. Are you ready to retire now? Question number 1. Are you deferring your life? Now think about this. How many times have you told yourself, someday? Now, you do realize that there is no someday on the calendar. Think about it. Yeah. How many times have you actually told that to yourself, or better yet, to your significant other? Yeah. Someday we'll take that trip. Someday we'll hike that trail. And someday we'll take that cruise. And someday we'll do this and that and the other and the you know that list. Yeah. That same like that bucket list. Yeah. That bucket list that basically turns into the forget it will never happen list. Think about it. Now for me, I actually had my first wake-up call. Yeah. If only I would have listened to my inner self. Yeah. That's back in the day when I was working as an area supervisor. I was let go. Yeah. Back then my wife and I had our fifth wheel. We utilized her at least once a month on just a little weekend excursion someplace here in Florida. But then once a year with our vacation schedule, we always took a week's vacation in it. And that was one of the things that we always said. We said that every weekend when we went out, and we said that even more so when we took our RV out for that week. Yeah, we always said, someday we're going to retire and we're going to do RVing full time. So, think about that. What are the things in life that you told yourself like that? Yeah. That would have been a perfect time for me. Yeah. Yeah. Now, granted, my wife's 10 years older, so that's why it would have made perfect sense. Because technically we could have still had income coming in. She could have gone ahead and said, okay, guess what? I am 62 and I can go ahead and start claiming early Social Security, so we still have a check coming in. Yeah, and we could have done it. We could have sold the house, banked that money. We still would have had both our 401ks that we could have turned them invested that money into a Roth savings account and stuff like that, So where there's a will, there's a way. Because money, unfortunately, is the one thing that I understand. That makes sense. You do have to have financial stable grounds, correct? But on the other side, there's a lot of things in life that money doesn't and will never buy you. So let's move on to question number 2 now, shall we? So, question number 2 then. Is your health suffering? Now, let's be honest with each other. We all know as we grow older, each and every day, our health, regardless of how much we want to try to stay in shape, it's still going to slowly decline. Now, when I did return to work, unfortunately, yeah, I took a 75% basically pay cut. Yeah. So that meant that, well, there went the RV. There went the pickup truck. There went even our normal weekend excursions to go out there and do that normal little walk and hike and what have you. And then later, down the road, when we finally decided that, okay, maybe we can go ahead and take a little bit of time and even just go out there and walk the amusement park or something with the grandkids, well, that's when I already started to notice right off the bat that, hey, my wife is not up to par of walking and hiking like she used to, you know? And unfortunately, we're not there yet as far as regardless of how much money you have, you can't, you know, they don't have that bionic arm or and that bionic leg, you know, that they can go ahead and, you know, manufacture and put on you, and now you're good to go, right? Yeah. Someday, maybe, but we all know it's not today. So regardless, you know, if you had that extra money all packed away and saved in the bank, you know, if your health's not there to be able to utilize and go on that excursion and that hike and all those things that you've always wanted to do, that don't what you know, what's the point of having that cash flow then, right? If you can't use it. So a health is a big equation of that, you know? Believe me, I'd rather have a couple years of being able to have time like that versus bypassing that opportunity and then realizing, well, no, I'm still stuck here in the house because physically I can't get out and do all those things I wanted to do. So, jot that one down on question number 2. What's your, you know, when you start thinking about it, you know, again, money cannot solve that health problem. Okay? It's only gonna, yeah, you need the money there to go to the hospital and go see the doctors and constantly do this and that and the other. But yeah, that means if you're doing all that, you're past that, what retirement's truly supposed to be about. Correct? So let's move on to question number 3 now, shall we? So, question number 3. Do you want to spend more time with family and friends? Now, here's where it actually gets to be interesting, because normal answer normally is yes. And even in our normal grind throughout the years, that's one thing that we always try to continue to do. Okay? Christmas and this and that and the other and vacation times, right? Yeah, well, remember back when I got that wake-up call and, yeah, I ended up changing course and getting into a new career and all that. Well, guess what? As time went by, yeah, my vacation schedule, no, it never lined up with my wife's. Yeah, my wife stayed as an accountant for working for Winn-Dixie. And she was up to that point where, yeah, she had 3 and 4 weeks a year, along with, you know, all those holidays. No, but in the business that I was in, well, I was still trying to get the time on the books to be able to, you know, So, regardless, throughout those years, I was actually missing out on a lot of key time with family because she had more time, vacation wise, and she also had more time too when it came to holidays because, well, I was working in retail. And guess what? Things like Christmas and what have you, yeah, all those big holidays, what's it all revolve around? Yeah, it revolves around those holidays. So that means you're working. Yeah. So, needless to say, times like that, I found myself missing out on. Now, thankfully, I always told my wife, no, go ahead, go spend time with the kids and the grandkids and stuff like that. It just is what it is. I have to work. And, yeah, so I'd probably be, 9 times out of 10, if I could, I'd show up, later that night and stuff like that. And, yeah, again, something that would have made all the world of difference. So think about that. Think about this family and those friends that, well, you have another good point. A very, very good point. If you're like me, I still had, and still do to this day, and thankful that they are still around. My parents are both in their 80s now. Okay? But back then, if I was retired and my wife was retired and we did take that, we did go ahead and do that. We would have been able to spend that time with my family, my mom and dad, when they were healthy. Able to go ahead and go see places and do things together. Okay? Today, they're beyond that. They stay at home because and just go see the doctor. They're in that stay at home, and their whole world revolves around doctor's appointments. So they're past that. They're still retired, but they're in that late stage of retirement that I missed because I didn't have that scheduled opportunity to take that time at the same time with them. That right there, again, just a 5-year frame, 5-year time frame. Man, think of all the times you can have together on doing certain things. Think about it. Is it worth it? So keep that in mind, and let's move on to question number 4 now, shall we? So, question number 4 then. Do you know what you're going to do when you retire? Now, for me, we said that all the time back in the day when we had our RV, what our game plan was and what our thoughts and dreams were. And chances are, you've probably done that too many times. And said, when I retire, I'll do this and that and the other. But beyond that, just think about a normal Tuesday. Grab yourself a sheet of paper and write down there. So, if I was retired today, and today was Tuesday, normal Tuesday, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing really going on, what would I do? Now, if you're like me, you're probably jotting all kinds of stuff down already, this and that and the other, even just the basic being able to have relaxed time out there, maybe in the garden, that normally, that would normally be only on the weekends, and you'd be rushing to do this and rushing to do that, you know? You weren't able to go out there and properly maintain stuff the way you wanted to do. Even simple things like that. Yeah, it makes all the world difference. Being able to actually go out there on a Tuesday morning and sit up there with the coffee and just watch the birds and listen to the sounds, you know. Not saying that you're out, you know, on vacation doing this and no, because there's many Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, there's normal Fridays, normal just weekends that are, yeah, that you're going to spend that relaxed time. Yeah. Pedaling around the house, doing this little project, that little project, a little bit at a time. But, yeah. Relaxing though still. Yeah, no deadlines. Yeah. So what if it takes you 3 or 4 weeks to paint the goddamn freaking hallway? Who cares? It's, you know, it's not a, you know, if it doesn't get done type of thing, you know, it's you know, the world's not going to come to an end type, you know, scenario. The stress when you're retired, when you're, you know, really retired, and just be able to relax and enjoy each and every day an hour, man, that's what it's really all about. Now, if you're still there and you're looking at a blank sheet of paper, well then, perhaps you're not ready to retire. Okay? Which brings us to our final question. So, can you retire? Or should it be more correctly phrased, why do you keep telling yourself that you can't retire? Is it the money? Now, granted, yeah, you do need to have that financial state, you know, yeah, finances do need to be in place. That's understandable. But I'm sure that if you really start thinking about it, yeah, I'm sure you can figure out a way to get that still an income stream every month. Yeah, if you can figure that part out, maybe you are on that path to retire today and now. You know, maybe it's doing some remote work from home or just working less. Even that alone can make all the world a difference. Think about all those times back in the day when you thought, man, there's no way I'm going to make it past this point in time in my life. Well, obviously you did. Otherwise you wouldn't be here today now, would you? I can think back of many times. Yeah. I can think back many times where, yeah, I was scraping by, but you know what? End result, we always ended up making it work out one way or the other. So, that's the mindset that today I think will benefit you the most. Figuring out and doing that financial thinking in a totally new aspect of not, instead of having this big old pile of cash over here, okay, perhaps it doesn't need to be that big. Perhaps you can make it work. And perhaps you will make it work. Because you know in the long run that it's going to pay off in the end. Right? Something to think about. Yeah. I know. Again, there's no time machine. But I know in my mind, man, if there was a time machine and I knew what I knew today, back then, yeah, I would have done everything back then. Yeah. Yeah. When I had gotten that wake up call from, yeah, that big job that was making that big money, yeah. I should have done it right then and there. Yeah. Yeah, we might have had to cut a few things here and a few things there, and to be able to make things work out. But in the long run, I know we would have been able to make things work out. Okay, so just something to keep in mind, something to think about, and I like to hear what is keeping you from retiring. Yeah, let me know. I'd like to hear each and every one of your thoughts until our next side road adventure. We will see everybody on the next side road.